Hello. I'm recording this again because the recording got corrupted, which is very frustrating. Um, but yeah, basically what I said in the last time I recorded this was, a lot of people still haven't done um a lot of the 10-minute tasks that I've set, and when I say 10 minutes, it'll probably take even less than that. To make sure that I know that you've done the coding tasks and that you can actually run the coding stuff at home. Um, I know you've got stuff on for Paul that desperately needs doing, and you also got stuff for Josh and technically for me on my last unit still to do. But there's so little people handing stuff in. Basically, the plan's going to be that if nobody's handed in anything at all by next week, in terms of, um, I think it'll be around the 23rd of November, January or something like that. The 25th. If nobody's handed anything coding wise in by the 25th, I'll be sending letters out and ringing immediately because I need to know that you can do it. If you can't do it, then we need to sort something out desperately. Um, yeah, if you're watching this, and because I know not everybody watches these, please go and tell them because it's really important now that they get it done. Like you can say in the chat while we're on videos and stuff on a Monday afternoon that you've done it and it's working, but I haven't got evidence of that because you've not uploaded it, which makes me think that you're just saying it just to sort of appease me. Doesn't actually mean you've done it. So I'm not going to believe anybody until they've actually handed it me in. So you need to desperately start getting that stuff in. It's 10-minute task for each thing. It's probably less than that overall. If you did all three at once, it would take you about 2 minutes, and I'm not even kidding. So please try and get them done. It's very, very important that we get them done because if we can't even get that done at this stage, I don't even know how we're going to get through my units. I really don't. So please try and get them done. A lot of this should stem from doing Paul's website stuff last year, and if you're with me in level 2 ages ago, then from that stuff as well. But yeah, you should know basic HTML stuff, which a few people were saying that they didn't, which again is quite worrying because you're on year 2 and you should know websites by now, really. So I won't be going over basic HTML stuff because I haven't got time, and 2, that's not what this is. This is web server scripting, so you'll need to relearn that in your own time. If you are desperately struggling with it, though, please come and see me. Don't stress about it and go, "Oh, he's not going to help me." It depends on what it is. I don't mind helping people. I just don't like it when people come up to me and go, "I don't know what to do," and I'm like, "Have you even tried?" And they're like, "No." If they turn around and say, "I haven't even tried," then I'm not even going to help you because you haven't tried. So you do desperately need to try, and I can tell who has and who hasn't. It's quite easy to tell when people have tried or just want me to do it all for them. Right. So rant over. We're going to do some coding stuff today in terms of posting. So posting something that you'll do a lot in web server scripting, which is essentially sending data from one file, so one PHP file to another PHP file, and it's used a lot in logging in systems and stuff like that for sending data from one file to another. So we're going to have a look at that. What I've done, and by the power of swiping, I've gone back onto my Visual Studio Code and still got my test pages up. Don't worry about that output.php just yet. You'll see that later on. But what I'm going to do is create a new file in here, and I'm going to call it form.php, like that. Now, what this is going to be, it's going to be a HTML front end that we're going to use to send data from one file, i.e. this file, to another file. So what I'm going to do is type in HTML5. So we've got all that stuff. Now, don't worry if you haven't got Notepad. You can still type that up because obviously you can pause the video and copy it. You don't need these 2 lines, so you can get rid of that. But you can do it on a text editor. So if you just do it in Notepad, that's fine. But you want to make sure it says form.php and not form.php.txt because that will not work. So it hopefully should be quite straightforward. Now, what we're going to add, which you all should have done at some point, is the word form, or a form on a website you should have done before. Now, a form is used for like entering data. You've probably seen forms for entering usernames and passwords before. It's usually the two boxes you use for entering username and passwords. So that's what we're going to do. However, we're going to keep it generic. So we're going to do just a word for this. And you'll need an input. And yes, we're doing it as type text. And then another input underneath. So input, but this time we're going to make it a submit, which makes it a submit button. So if we have a look at what this looks like on our browser, which for some reason my browser's gone, but I'm going to get it back up now. So there's my browser. Let's type in localhost. And we've got test pages form. So this is what we've got, where we can type in stuff and then press submit. It's quite straightforward. It's just a normal form where you can type something and then press submit and button and it'll send it somewhere. So at the minute, pressing it, but it's not sending it anywhere. So we actually need to send it somewhere. To do this, we need to do something called posting. Obviously, I've mentioned this before. So this is basically telling this file that it needs to send data from this to another file. So we need to do something called method. So method goes in between action and the little crocodile at the end here. So it's got to be in between. So it can't be outside of the form bit. If it's outside of it, say here somewhere, then that's wrong. It's got to be next to the left-hand side of the crocodile, but right-hand side of action. So method equals double quotes and then post. And what this should do when we save it and then reload it on here, and we'll press F12 to see it's gone in there, which it has. It says method post. It means now when we do that and then press submit, it will actually try and send that data somewhere. At the minute, it's not sending that data somewhere. So we do need to change where it's going to go. Sorry, it's a little bit of a technical hiccup there. I stopped the UAMP from running and it stopped my recording for some reason, which is a bit strange. What I realised was I hadn't put the folder in the correct place. Now I have and it's there, so make sure the folder's always in UAMP, and I'll get it back up so people can see. Show UAMP. So make sure that you put it in this folder. So folder www, make sure that it's in here. If it's not going to appear. That's probably why it's not in there. Let's go on form. So this is the form we create, and we can type any word we want in here and press submit. And it's not going to do anything. When you press it, it'll get rid of it. It'll post it, but it's not posting it to anything because we've not told it to yet. So if we go back onto here now, action is where it's going to go. What we're going to do is create a new file, and we'll call this output.php. Now, even though this form.php has not got any PHP code in it yet, it might be that you want to add it later. It's always better to make it a PHP file, because potentially you might want to add PHP functionality into it later. And if you don't make it a PHP file at the beginning, it's not going to work. So always make it a PHP file, even if you think you're never going to. It's good practice to making PHP files instead of HTMLs. Right. So in here, we're going to receive the output. So we need to put in PHP. So this, then PHP. To start the PHP and then that to end it. So anything that goes inside these two tags now will be PHP code. We want to receive the post. So we do $_ capital POST, and it has to be capital because this is a function. Then square brackets, like that. And in the square brackets, you are wanting to get the thing that's named from the other file. So what I'm going to put is word, and then semicolon after it. Now, this on its own is not going to do anything at all, because all we're saying is receive the post and that's it. If we do $, and then put output equals, that means that this word that comes from the form here will now go into a variable called output, and we can start doing whatever we want with it. Now, we could just echo the output, echo $output, and you don't need to put quotes around this because it's a variable. You don't need quotes around it. You can just echo out the output. So that should just echo out this word that's come through here. Now, we need to give something the name word because at the minute this input here has not got a name. It just says input type text. So if we put input, then give it a name equals, and we'll call it word and save it. This now has a name attached to it. So this will now, when we send it through to this file, output.php, will put it into a variable. So send the word here, put it into the variable called output, and then we'll echo it out there. Now, there's one last thing left to do. On action, you need to tell it which file you're going to send all this information to, because potentially there could be more than just one box. There could be multiple boxes. But you need to tell it where you're going to send it to. So we're going to send it to output.php. So action is output.php. And it could be that you send it to multiple different PHP files, but for this we'll just send it to the one. So we'll see if this works. So refresh the page first because obviously we've saved it and we need to make sure it works. So we're going to put the word in, as per usual, hello world, because we want to make sure that it works, right? So hello world's usually the common place to start. We'll press submit. Now as you can see it's refreshed, which means that we're missing something. So let's have a look, see if it's actually took it. So action is missing something there, which means it's not saved properly. And I think I know why. So what I've done the right thing, but I've not saved it in the right folder. So what I'm going to do is just close these for a quick second. I'm going to copy both of these. Copy. File, open folder. I'm going to go to the right UWAMP folder. UWAMP, www, test pages, select folder. I'm going to paste them in here. And that's the old form. So what we're going to do is get rid of this old form. Yep. Yep. And we're going to change this back to just good old form. So I'll put it in the right folder because I accidentally put it in the wrong folder to begin with. So let's see if this actually works now. So we'll check on here and refresh it. So we'll check it and it does say output.php now, so that's going to work. If you ever need this side console to check if everything's gone in correctly in terms of the extra code you've put in, just press F12 or right click and inspect and that also brings it up. So let's try it. So hello world. We love a good hello world. And look at that, it's sent it to output.php, so we're now on the output.php page, and it's echoed it out like we needed it to. So that's brilliant, that's exactly what we needed to do. What I want you guys to do is I want you to add another text box underneath this one, and have it be produced on output, so a second output essentially. But what I want you guys to do other than that, so yeah, I want you to output them two things, but I want you to output it and format it. So at the minute, it just outputs like this, just as a plain HTML text. Whereas what you could do, which if you put in HTML5 again and let it have the HTML doc type, so you can keep that stuff at the top, that's fine. That's you could just have it so it gets the post from the other file at the top. So that's saved the post. And then the body, we could have a fancy paragraph, say, and then we can echo out the output by doing PHP like that, and then echo output, $output. So $sign always means that it's a variable, essentially. So that should put in a nice fancy paragraph. So what you could do to be very smart about this, because you can jump in and out of these PHP tags wherever. Now it's annoying that they don't change colours compared to the HTML document. That is a bit of a bummer because it makes it a little bit more difficult. But you can see that you've got the jump out there and the jump in there for the PHP. You could potentially have a second input where it's a color, and then it changes the style of what the output is. So in terms of like, if you tap the word green in, it will make it green. If you type the word blue in, it will make it blue. It's quite easy. Literally, all I want you to do is put the output in this paragraph tag, and then you should know how to add styling CSS to it, because you should have done this with Paul last year. So you shouldn't have to come up to me going, "I don't know how to do this," because you should know how to do this. If you don't, let me know anyway, because we need to get something desperately sorted if you don't know how to do that. But basically, you'll just need to add a style to it, which should go in the head, and you should remember doing this. But I'm going to leave you guys to that, because you should know, as Year 2 computing students, you should know how to do styles. I shouldn't be telling you how to do styles. So try and do that. It'll be quite interesting to see what people come up with, especially when they get the letter home saying they haven't done anything. So please try and get that stuff done, just so I can make sure that you've got it working and you're on the right track. And if you need any help, come and see me. As of yet, nobody's come and see me, even though they said that they were going to, which is quite worrying. But other than that, try and keep on top of stuff. Come see me if you need any help, even with last unit stuff, because that also needs finishing really before you start this one. But try and get stuff done, and I will speak to all either later in the week, later in the day, or on Thursday mornings, or through text or whatever on Classroom. Up to you guys, but I will leave you with that, and hopefully you'll be able to come up with something quite fancy.